welcome back to another Film Geek movie review, and good morning! Well, at least it's morning at the time of filming this. So I meant to actually do this movie review late last night. I worked, and after I got home from running some errands and all, I was going to watch this movie and post a review somewhere last night, and honestly, I got home after work and running some errands and just said, you know what? Nah, we'll do this in the morning. So yeah, no brewski like I normally have, but if it makes you feel any better, it's still a local roasted coffee, okay? I am a big fan of buying local and such. So there you go. Anyways, enough about my morning and such. Let's talk about this movie. In just a moment, I'm going to be walking my happy butt over to the futon to check out the Shudder original, Other. Other is directed by David Monroe, and it's starring Olga Kurylenko. It tells the story of a woman who returns to her childhood home after her mother passes away. And then things start to happen that could either be supernatural, or maybe it's just the trauma of her childhood coming back to haunt her. This movie looks like it's going to be an absolute creep fest, and this movie does too come from all the way from France, and I don't believe that this movie is subtitled. I think that this film was filmed in English and such, so we'll find out, but I don't care. I don't mind. I've tried to expand myself over the last couple of years and try to take in a lot more horror films, and I have actually really taken to French horror as of lately, so I'm looking forward to getting over there to the futon, because not only is my faithful movie feline friend Haku waiting on me, I also want to get over there because it's time for me to check out the new movie, Other. Just getting done watching Other, and guys, I thought this movie was alright. This is one of those perfectly acceptable stream it on Shudder kind of films. If you're in the mood for something kind of creepy to watch on a Friday night, this is the kind of movie that will really fulfill that need. So let's get that party started, shall we? We're going to get things started with negatives, then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Now, the first thing about this film is that it is dubbed in some spots. Other parts, you can tell that they definitely filmed the lead actor in English, but there are points in this film that you can tell that they dubbed over the other actors who were probably speaking in French or something, and it really comes off as strange. Now, they use some techniques to kind of cover up the fact that they're using dubbing, but with the sound design of this film, it just seems really awkward. Now, fortunately, there aren't a lot of scenes that you have with other people in this movie. This movie pretty much just barrels down to one character, and she does a great job, which we will get into that into the positives. But yes, this film luckily just follows her, so most of it is filmed in English, but the parts that are dubbed are really awkward and strange. Our lead actor is filmed, I bet, with her own voice for the dubbing, but then they would do some just strange techniques that would just kind of make the film seem very strange and out of place and almost dreamy-like when it was supposed to be something that was in the real world, because they would do the technique where they would kind of shadow people's faces that were talking, and then there was just like this dubbing that was over it, but our main character was always perfectly in focus, and I could tell that they were trying to do something there that made the film look kind of stylistic, but unfortunately it just made parts like that just really seem awkward. Now, this film is also, to the best of my knowledge, supposed to take place in Minnesota, and yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get any kind of Minnesota vibes off of this movie. Now, maybe if this movie would have taken place in the winter, you could have pulled off the fact that this was Minnesota, but unfortunately, no point in time when they're filming in the in the forest or anything. I could be wrong. Maybe it was just that the film itself felt very strange because of the dubbing, but I was not convinced that this was taking place in the United States. It's specifically taking place in the very cold Midwestern state of Minnesota. But it does do a pretty good job still. It just wasn't very convincing of being something that I feel like was a definite film that was in the United States. This thing tries to deliver also a bit of an allegory tale attached to it. It tries to take on subject matter of trying to stay beautiful and young forever, and also gender roles and so on in society, but it doesn't really lock down on all of those things. And then what really kind of divulges into a kind of cheesy B-rate monster movie in the end. Like, the film tries to build itself up as like a psychological horror film, and it does a great job of playing this with your brain and your mind a little bit at the beginning of the movie in the first and second act. But then as the mystery of the film starts to unfold, and while yes, it is interesting, once you finally get to the reveal and you start to learn what's going on, everything comes off so cheesy and campy and unrealistic that it throws the film into B horror movie territory. The film itself is still extremely entertaining when it goes into that third act, but everything just goes into absolutely wacky territory. Now, you know what? Other than that, though, I would have to say that this was kind of a fun film. Again, it was just on Shudder, so it's not going to cost you much more than your time. So let's move into those positives, shall we? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the opening of this film, because I thought it did a really great job of drawing me in. For moments, I thought this movie was going to be told in a found footage style, because there are things that they talk about with this security system that this house has. The opening of the film seems like somebody who's filming a YouTube video about this murder and all that happened in the area. So this whole intro does a really good job of setting the foundation of what to expect when all of the scares start happening. So I thought that opening was really great. Now, just don't worry about it. This film does not stay in the found footage area very long. It does use some elements of found footage. There are some moments where viewing things that are through the lens of our character in a very POV fashion. We're watching through like a video camcorder, and it actually looks really cool how that looks in the film, so I thought that actually looked pretty neat. But most of this film is just normal storytelling, normal types of cinematography with just moments that are found footage. But that whole opening sequence with the found footage and all, really liked it. Thought that was great. The sound design in this film is also definitely on point, save for the weird dubbing. There's a lot of moments in the house when they're using the sound design to build some really great creepy moments and some good scares. This crazy home security is also something that does some great moments of adding into the dread and overall vibe and helping with that cinematography also. There are some drones that are floating around, so we get some good shots from there, some awesome angles and all. So I believe the cinematography in this film also really delivers. Now, it seems like this movie is going to be a slow burn when it starts out. I've seen a lot of movies like that who have come from France where it's a definite slow burn type of horror where it starts off everything kind of slow, the characters are kind of developed, the story itself takes its time developing and all. And this movie feels like it's going to go in that way, but the pacing in this film is really good. This movie does not follow the typical slow burn fashion. It doesn't have a ton of build up, and then the craziness. There is a lot of craziness that's going on throughout this film as this mystery is going on. So I thought the pacing itself is really solid. The movie itself is only an hour and 32 minutes long, so it really doesn't waste a lot of your day to get this movie in. So all in all, I would have to say that this film definitely delivers in a lot of areas. Great gore, great makeup in this film. There isn't a lot of it. The movie, again, with that really awesome opening, has a really great gore moment in there, and then the film takes a very long break from anything absolutely bloody. There's a few little moments of some great terror and some good suspense, but as the gore goes, it really doesn't wait until the end of the film, again, in that crazy, more wackadoodle third act that comes up. Then things start to get a little bit more bloody and a little bit more gory, but then it looks also pretty dang solid. Even though the third act does go in a completely different direction, I would have to say that it was a lot of fun in the end of the day. It does kind of lighten the mood of the film up a little bit, even though it does add in a little bit more levels of cheesiness. And also, the final thing I want to talk about is our lead actor, Olga Kurylenko. I'm not familiar with her, but she does an excellent job in this film. I thought she really delivered on her performance, and she is definitely the entire core of this film. As I said, it's pretty much just her on screen for this entire movie, and she does an excellent job of just delivering in the fear and the scares and just developing a well fleshed out character. So all in all, guys, I would have to say, if you're curious, give this thing a stream. extreme. It's not a terrible movie. It just does definitely have its flaws. It tries to go into some more allegory kind of areas. It doesn't quite land that. But if you look at this movie as just a campy monster movie, you might have a little bit fun with this one. Alright guys, thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you could do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna. Hey, just thought you might like to know that there is an after credits scene in this movie. I don't think it really goes anywhere, but I thought you should know. Thanks again for watching.